How low can we go? Let's think about this. How low can we go? Well, we can go lower than this. We could, because the bar has been set. This was sent to me from Pin Chicago, or Pin Chicago, as it is written in the Twitter handle. So this is from the smokinggun.com. Mansion owner claims Airbnb X-rated scheme. Woman says she was duped into gay porn rental. The owner of a California mansion alleges that she was duped into renting out the property via Airbnb to a firm that produces hardcore gay porno films and left the 1920s property awash in enema kits, various sexual devices, and assorted bodily fluids, according to the lawsuit. Christina Napick, owner of the Acacia Mansion in Ojai, a city 80 miles northwest of Los Angeles, charges that she agreed to lease the property for 5 days in mid-August to a woman who claimed that she and a group of friends would stay at the $1,095 a night home for a quick summer vacation. In a November 19th Superior Court complaint, Napick, 46, alleges that Anna, the purported renter, was actually Andre Trevas, the gay porn actor, director, producer known professionally as Michael Lucas. Napick charges that she gave the keys to the property to Trevas. Why am I pronouncing that differently every time? Of course, this guy looks like some variety of mystery meat. So, I'm gonna give his name a variety of pronunciations. Only humans get to have their names pronounced right, not subhumans. I'm not putting forth the effort. Anyway, where was I? Napick charges that she gave the keys to the property to Trevas, who posed as Anna's brother-in-law. Napick said she was told that Anna was still en route to the Ojai mansion. According to Napick's lawsuit, which includes claims for fraud, negligence, trespass, and breach of contract, she returned to the property on August 16th and immediately noticed that it was filthy. Strap in, everybody, this is where it gets good. Napick claims that enema kits were found throughout the house, on the floors, in the beds, in nightstand drawer, and in the trash. Additionally, various sexual devices were found in the beds and in the trash. Linens were stained brown, and the hot tub was brownish in color. Linens were stained brown, and the hot tub water was brownish in color. I hope you're not eating. The complaint alleges that urine, semen, and fecal matter were found on linens, carpets, upholstery, walls, ceilings, and in the hot tub. Napick, the lawsuit states, is concerned that pornographic images and films made at the property will damage its reputation and image. What, you homophobic bigot? You don't want your beautiful property, your beautiful mansion to be featured in films? What kind of films? Oh, never you mind, cishet. Never you mind. We're better. We don't need to tell you the truth. As Napick inspected the mansion, she found a business card for Lucas Entertainment, the New York-based porn outfit owned by the 43-year-old Trevas. Some online research by Napick revealed that not only was Trevas the man she handed her keys over to, but that his social media pages reported he was on location filming pornos at the Acacia Mansion. Napick alleges that she attempted to clean the property, but quickly became concerned that the mansion may have been seriously damaged. Many of the films Lucas Entertainment produces depicts men urinating on each other and what does this say? Giving each other enemas. Depicts men urinating on each other and giving each other enemas, the lawsuit states. And this man has a career doing this, which means what? That he has a lot of paying customers. He has more than 8,600, I can guarantee you that. These activities were not being conducted in a bathroom, but rather on beds, floors, and furniture. When Napik resorted to the use of a blacklight while inspecting the home, well, yeah, you'll see some stuff. She discovered the presence of bodily fluids throughout. What the fuck are they doing in there? These people are so developmentally stunted that they forgot their potty training. Is that what we're dealing with here? Seems like it. Okay. Discovered the presence of bodily fluids throughout the property, according to the complaint, which notes that Napik has replaced soiled linens, drained and bleached the hot tub, bleached and painted all walls, steam cleaned the upholstery, and shampooed the carpeting. The complaint contends that Napik continues to clean and sterilize the property. Well, nothing can wash away that kind of sin. In addition to unspecified monetary damages, Napik's lawsuit is seeking a court order enjoining Travis and Lucas Entertainment from distributing the vile pornographic movies shot at the Acacia Mansion. Well, before I say anything further about this, I would like to give credit to the Smoking Gun for an objective account of what happened. Imagine if this were written on Vice, if this were written by somebody who works for Vice or BuzzFeed. The article, the headline of the article, the title of the article would go something like, this homophobe wants to ruin a better than you person's good time, or these gay people had an awesome party and this cishet is really mad about it. So credit to the Smoking Gun for not adding some lecture about how important it is not to draw any conclusions from this and how important it is to not be a homophobe. Now, I will remind you, at the beginning of the article, we learned how expensive it is to rent out this location that these men defiled. Men. I don't like to use that term because that implies that you've earned it. Being a man implies that you're of a certain morality, that you're of a certain mentality. And these subhumans are not men. They are not. Anyway, the mansion costs $1,095 a night. Do you have $1,095 to spend on a night in a mansion? Do you have the money to spend multiple nights in such a location? I don't. But if you do have this kind of money, did you make it working in this guy's industry? Specifically selling urine and enema porn to gay males? I don't think so. You can only get this kind of money, this kind of line of credit, this kind of loan, if you're making some decent money doing what you do. And this guy is selling consumer products. And who are his consumers? We know who his consumers are. How many of them are there? There needs to be a hell of a lot of people backing him in order to lead this kind of lifestyle. To enable this kind of wealth. Thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and you're telling me that this is a fringe thing? You're going to tell me with a straight face that this is a fringe thing that deserves none of our attention. First Britpol is telling you how great buggery and traps are. Next thing you know, they'll tell you that the only proper way to consummate a marriage is to exchange urine. That's what they'll tell you next, because as we know, dysfunction begets dysfunction. These things don't happen in a vacuum. There's no such thing as a personal preference. I've talked about that already. I'm repeating myself, but you don't know that. So I'm going to stop there. Which leads me into this. Common Filth Extra will be available on December 7th, 1 week from now on Bandcamp. Actually, I just noticed that'll be 6 days from the time this is uploaded. So yeah, December 7th. I didn't realize it was the first of the month, but yeah, this is a Bandcamp exclusive show, and it will also be exclusive to Bandcamp subscribers, which I will announce the details of the day that Common Filth Extra is released. It's already been recorded, and it's all ready to go. And if you have any questions about it, I could try to answer some of them before they're actually asked. Common Filth Extra will follow the format of this show. In a more abbreviated format. There will not be a question and answer. It'll just be me talking. And the format of it will evolve as time goes on. But just imagine this, but I can afford to be less limited in what I say. Like this show, Common Filth Radio, like Tumblr East, Common Filth Extra will be a weekly series, and it will upload every Monday. I'm looking forward to doing this show, and I hope you are looking forward to listening to it. But what I'm not looking forward to is reading this. And at this point, this stuff finds me. I'm not looking for it anymore. And this article I'm about to read may have been sent to me by somebody on Twitter who I can't find right now, so my apologies. I do like to put over my Twitter faithful, and pretty much anybody who is loyal to me. Anyway, however this got my attention, here it is. This is from LifeSiteNews.com. Gay activists out complainant who oppose Subway ads for gay sex in public. A Canadian homosexual newspaper has outed by name the author of a private complaint that led Toronto's subway system to pull racy ads for a homosexual hookup site that promotes sex in public venues. Now, this article was published a couple days ago. A couple days ago as of this recording, November 27th, 2015. And this month, within the last month, I was told that this shit doesn't happen anymore. That this is just a homophobic canard. And now that we know it's not a myth, cruising is not a myth, what's it going to be now? Oh, this is not even a problem anyway. That's what it's going to be. Deny and deny again. Anyway, Pink Triangle Press, which publishes Daily Extra, obtained the complaint from a Freedom of Information request to the Toronto Transit Commission. The ads for the homosexual cruising website squirt.org depict naked men from the waist up, some provocatively embracing, and uses non-stop cruising for a tagline. Cruising refers to the risky homosexual practice of one person trying to pick up another person for anonymous gay sex in a public place, such as a bathroom, gym, park, beach, or back alley. The 100 ads were plastered on the walls of subway trains. When complaints arose, the TTC took down the ad September 9. The ad was taken down as it promoted sex in public places, which is against the law, TTC spokesman Danny Nicholson said at that time. Well, you heard it from the source. Canada's criminal code prohibits sex in a public place defined as any place to which the public has access as a right or by invitation. It appears that Pink Triangle Press did not believe the reason given by the TTC and issued a Freedom of Information request to see if it could dig up other details. When the ads were originally pulled, the mainstream media such as Toronto Star sympathetically portrayed the advertisers as a dating website for gay men. Oh, I'm sure. Hinting that pulling the ads amounted to discrimination against homosexuals. You think? What leads to this mentality that discrimination is never justified? And again, they're going to bring up, well, why is it a problem? Why is it a problem? Pink Triangle Press marketing director Andrew Nolan told Toronto Star at that time that he could not know whether homophobia played a role without knowing the content of the complaints. So it breaks the law by promoting public sex, but that aspect of it becomes void because of the intent of the complaint. Or it suddenly stops becoming illegal if you have certain naughty opinions about certain people. It turns out that the TTC received 16 complaints according to Daily Extra, one of which consisted in a complaint that the ads promoted sex in public places, including bathrooms in the TTC network. One TTC employee whose name was given by Daily Extra, who issued the complaint, asked superiors if it was appropriate for the public transit service to have an ad for a site that is premised on helping guys hook up in public places, including on the TTC on our trains. When asked by a superior, who was also named by Daily Extra, if the ad suggested hooking up on the TTC, the employee responded no, but the premise of the website is hooking up in public places such as washrooms, parks, etc. Subway station washrooms are on the site. I wouldn't suggest visiting the website at work, the employee added. There were also 3 complaints from people who identified as gay and who objected to the ad portraying gay men as sexually promiscuous. One wrote, "I am a gay man and no prude. Is it necessary to expose young children to nearly naked men promoting non-stop cruising on a website named for male ejaculation? As a blankety blank." Which means you still prioritize other blankety blanks. Now, notice how he makes it all about himself. You can cut out that entire first part. That first part that says, "I am a gay man and no prude." You just say, "Is it necessary to expose young children to nearly naked men promoting non-stop cruising on a website, blah, blah, blah." You could have just left that part in. But no, the rest of it is tainted now. Your mask is being compromised. And you can feel it. I can tell. Others who issued a complaint were also worried about the effects of the ads on children. And then the justification will be, "It's good for your children. Your children are sexual anyway." Here's a textbook about it, as there is a story linked to this one titled "Lesbian Teacher: How I Convinced Kids to Accept Gay Marriage Starting at 4 Years Old." Others who issued a complaint were also worried about the effects of the ads on children. Okay. "There is no need to have these male sex objects advertised to our children who are taking the subway all the time. Please hold your ground and do not be fazed by these people who are trying to promote sex and their sexism through every and any means," wrote one. "It was uncomfortable watching the ad and the overt suggestion to hook up. I don't have any issue with the ad in the Wellesley station, but just felt that we need to be mindful of the kids who ride our trains," wrote another. But you don't have a problem with it. Or maybe the ad in the Wellesley station was different, but it's advertising the same purpose, so it's advertising the same thing. So it's okay. One transit user issued a complaint thinking the TTC was advertising a porn site, calling it very offensive and outrageous. Knowing that this is Canada, the people who are making these complaints are most likely making them because they don't feel like explaining to their children certain behaviors done by certain people. They probably don't feel like having to explain hate facts to their children because they don't want to create children who are socially ostracized for the dumbest of reasons. But I can't talk about this anymore. There's nothing I can say. It speaks for itself, unless it doesn't. And if it doesn't, well, I don't want you around me. I don't want to hang out with you. I don't want to associate with you. Okay, let's do Reddit questions. Reddit.com/commonfilth is the official subreddit. And this comes from the question and comment thread, which I put up every week. First, hello CF. Before I ask my questions, I should point out that I bought Tumblrista's Raw Volume 3, and my god, it's one of the most disgusting episodes I've seen, probably worse than the second one. Seeing those men licking urinals, those fags still using diapers, that story about that woman who trained her daughters to love black men, and more glorification of pause has been pretty hard, and I felt sick, but I still like the commentary. Now, time for the questions. 1. How many fuck you mom/dad does it take to go into full degeneracy mode? It's not the amount, it's just the extent of the mentality. Viewing your own family as a threat, as a source of competition for resources, it's a mental illness. 2. How do you feel about people who embrace nihilism instead of having something to fight for? While I might feel that way sometimes, I will never give in and will fight against it because life is a wonderful gift to waste it on celebrating death or thinking there's nothing we can do. I feel that people who have this mindset go into the piss and enema business, the piss and enema video business. Or if not that, they justify how piss and enema peddlers are actually good for their movement. 3. What is the most interesting article, as in something that is actually good, that you've seen on the internet? This is too broad of a question for me to even begin to answer it. 4. Since in the last episode you mentioned that filthy people tend to lean towards the chaotic side instead of the orderly, do you think that there are some positive things about chaos in general, or people who are chaotic? Or what good are they going to be in a society? And what is the thing you love about order? You already live in a world that's defined by chaos. A society that's defined by chaos. A society where everything is arbitrary. We belong to a culture where everything is arbitrary, where sex, race, and development, they are considered unimportant in how people think, operate, behave. We belong to a culture that has no restraint, no concept of boundaries. If we had boundaries, if we had restraint, people like Piss Mansion Boy would be institutionalized. So why do I value order? Well, I guess I'm just a fossil who values things like decency and humility. But who needs that in the current year? 5. By who do you want to get paused, or who to pause? I'm not answering that. And 6. Who's the worst happy merchant that you've seen? I don't know, the whites that buy his products. We'll go with that. Next, I haven't posted questions in a while since I am recovering from a real bad case of pneumonia. Anyway, pardon the term, but in your opinion, what do you think is the king philosophy or way of thinking of the "lay so edgy, look at me, I'm different and cool" guys? You know the types. Also, thoughts on George Lincoln Rockwell. I know you've said that the present American Nazi Party is a honeypot for homos and cops, but I myself find Rockwell very different from the current autists that think it's Halloween for 365 days. Well, I'm familiar with the name, but I'm not familiar with any of his works. None of them come to mind immediately, and the way of thinking of the people who want to be different, want to be this, want to be that, it is a very prepubescent mentality. Kids have this strange desire to gross out their parents and peers. I don't know why, but that's the behavior I've observed in younger people. You can also see it in people whose emotional development stopped after a certain point for who knows what reason, but I have my suspicions, like a Piss Mansion Boy. He's an example of someone whose emotional development stopped around the age of, I don't know, 9, 10, 11, 12, something like that. Okay, next. Hey CF, I'm one of your younger listeners, just turned 18 this month. Personally, I like the show because you share a philosophy that I strongly agree with, but can't find in the real world. I'm a pretty good speaker, and when I rant to my friends about the degeneracy in the world and how we need to fight against it, I see them get excited and mirror my views, but only a few of them take it to heart. I have some hope for the future because even the sheep can be roused into action with logic and reason. Also, on your point of younger listeners sending questions because they don't have morally upstanding adults to talk to, my father is who I inherit my ability to speak from, and he consistently beats me in arguments, standing slightly more left than me, but deep in the right, but he has been affected by moral apathy, and I think I'm the only person he speaks freely with. My mother has been totally corrupted by liberals. Here's my question. Unfortunately, a slightly long one after that wall of text. Me and my close male friends are systematically disrespectful to our female friends, with exception of our girlfriends, who are all wonderfully conservative. We do this as a force of habit and instinct. It keeps them from falling into the cesspool of feminism, and keeps them relatively safe from the overwhelming liberal influence so pervasive in the culture of young people. I found that I can't do this to my friends' younger sisters. In fact, I'm nicer to young girls than even my closest male friends. I spoil them with positive attention. I invite them to come eat with us and bring their friends and go on adventures with us. As a result, they love me, and honestly, I would rather hang out with these 8 to 16-year-olds than girls my age. Spending time with them is one of my favorite things to do. It's not a sexual thing. I would kill myself before I did something unsavory to any girl that isn't ready. Do you think there's something wrong with my psychology? Is it because I like their innocence and the undivided attention they give me? Or is it some paternal instinct? I mean, I have a girlfriend. Why the fuck do I enjoy the company of these girls so much, and why can't I be condescending to them like I am with girls my age? I think the age from 14, 15, 16 up until 20 or 21, you are very afraid of showing emotional vulnerability. Young people are. They don't want to be hurt on that level. And it's because they lack the perspective to realize that feelings change, time heals wounds, whatever cliche you wanna use. So you put up this wall between you and your female peers by acting like an asshole, which I don't understand. There's being a jerk, and then there's just being spiteful. There's being ass hurt, and when I hear the word disrespectful, that's what I hear. I detect some bitterness, which is not good for you, not good for anybody. It shows some very deep insecurities that you need to fix. Because one, what are you so mad at? Why do you have these feelings towards females? And number two, why do you want to hang out with people who tolerate that kind of abuse? You don't want to be around abusive people. You don't want to be around people who let others get away with being abusive. And I'm skeptical if such such social tactics are successful in keeping the feminism at bay, because they're going to go into their first freshman class in college and hear about how men are so evil and there's male privilege and all this shit, and then they'll connect it back to boys who were mean to them in high school. Boys who took advantage of them, and then all of a sudden you see girls with very brightly colored dyed hair and shaved heads and all of this nonsense. Anything else that I'm leaving out. You name it, it's there. But why you hang out with younger girls, invite them, on adventures with you, whatever it is, it's not appropriate. And I don't know what it is in your mind that wants, or what it is in your nerves, what impulse leads you to want to have their attention. I don't know, but it's inappropriate. It's not as if you're their father. It's not as if you are their brother. You're just some person to them. And that's all I have to say. ACF, how would you go about convincing someone of the axiom, third world people bring the third world with them? This is something I agree with, but I feel should be elaborated on if possible. Also, I don't mean to pressure you unduly, but do you have any intention of producing a best of for the current year? Didn't I announce that last week? I'm not being rhetorical or anything. If I didn't announce it, yeah, of course. I'm putting it together. There's a lot of stuff to go through though, and it's going to be massive. It's going to be, I don't want to say it's going to be double the size of the last best of collection, but it'll be a lot longer. So we'll see what happens. But in short, yes, I'm working on it right now. Finally, how do you feel about my posting career? I think you follow PleasureMan or npc.txt on Twitter. Have a good one. Yes, I do follow npc.txt on Twitter, and they follow me as well. So, yeah, they have a really good thread over there about I think it's like the Institute for Advanced Homophobia. Really long thread, really good thread, full of all sorts of hair-raising examples of what happens when they take off their mask they wear around mainstream society. And as for how you convince somebody that the third world people bring the third world with them, you don't convince them, because there's a very simple thing they're overlooking, and the idea is this: third worlders create the third world. The third world does not create the third worlders. Because you'll observe that a lot of third worlders have pretty good land. They have access to, they have good weather, things grow there, there's a lot of animals. You could create civilization there, yet they don't. They fail at it. Why is this? And they can blame colonialism and foreign invasion all they want, but who allows it? Who allows foreign entities to come in and take their resources? Much like the Chinese are doing to Africa right now. The responsibility must fall on somebody, and it doesn't fall on the Chinese. The Chinese are simply taking advantage of an opportunity. And this applies to anybody. This applies to anything. You cannot rely on the intentions of those who would rather flee home rather than fix home. And that's what you're dealing with. There is no combination of words that can be made that will convince people of this. Because these people have this bizarre mindset that certain kinds of dirt, certain kinds of soil is magical. ACF, could you teach me how to drill shine into Upsmash? No. ACF, how do I make the most of my English class? It's an AP course, so I know that academia sucks dick for that. Most of the time, there are meaningless class conversations on topic that hold zero importance to literally anything. For example, I have to write an essay about texting versus calling. That'll prepare you for higher education. My teacher is an advocate for tolerance and such, as one would expect. When is the next meteor coming again? Not major, what am I talking about? I just wanted to include that my school does blatantly sexist gender profiling. For example, I'm in the school's engineering program, and I swear to God, the teachers always distribute these amazing opportunities for meeting big organizations and internships that are only for girls because there aren't many in the field. And of course, the girls don't attend these events because they're too busy worshipping their vaginas and couldn't give less of a shit. Whenever boys are included, we always end up getting the short end of the stick. For example, I recently went to NYU Polytech for an event, and boys and girls were separated. The girls went to talk to officials from Fortune 500 or 5,000, I can't recall. Yeah, it's Fortune 500. I don't think there's a Fortune 5,000. That's a lot of fortune. While we guys actually, and I shit you not, made towers out of spaghetti and marshmallows for 2 fucking hours. Please kill me. That's a society, that's the world you live in. That is the present day condition of society. That girls need to be in this position because they're girls. Not because they have a natural inclination for it, not because girls are good at it. It quite light up the bright parts of the brain, of the female brain. There's no benefit to having female engineers or female scientists because they're female. Engineering is engineering, math is math, science is science, no matter who's doing it. And whoever is the best at doing it, well, let them do it. It's pretty simple. But again, observe who is promoting this kind of worldview. That everything needs to be equal, and women need to lead and all this stuff. Well, do they have leadership ability? And no, it's not because people don't allow them to. It's not because, that's the stupidest thing. Leaders don't need permission. They just do it. And from a purely practical standpoint, the reason why they had you playing arts and crafts instead of actually getting in motion to do something that will be of benefit to you in the long term, the reason they have you do that is because you aren't that good of a consumer compared to women. They rather give these jobs to women because women make for better consumers. It could be that simple. It could be 100% that, or it could be a smaller percentage of that, but there's a significant part of that goes into their decision making. And as for your English class, I get questions like this now almost every week. What do I do about this shitty class? Well, you have to deal with it. That is unfortunately the future your parents chose for you. They and people like them decide to pay property taxes to pay for good schools. That's what they decided, and you have to live with it. And they think you're getting a real good education because it's not like you've been speaking English your entire life. No, you haven't. You are not fluent at all. There's still a lot to be learned. What's there to learn? I don't know. They think it's some kind of magic, as if they're mixing potions in the back, coming up with secret educational tactics. So I'm sorry, but there's nothing you can do. I really do not enjoy saying that, but there's no solution. Next. Hi, other tale from work with the same characters, aka the women who do nothing but criticize and produce nothing. Two of those women were talking about their silky underwear, which is a way safer topic to talk about at work than to talk race, and being mixed kebab, it should be easier for me. Well, it's not. Immigration and degeneracy at the workplace are even to joke about World War II. Anyway, all of a sudden during the conversation, one of the two shoved her hand in the pants of the other to check if it was really silk. So the other did the same, and they stayed a few seconds laughing, one hand in the pants of the other in the middle of the room. About 30 people saw it, and from what I know, nobody reported it as a violation of corporate behavior or whatever. Remember, they're the ones who judge my behavior during calls, getting judged by whores, inversions of values much. Yes, inversions of values much. The same day, some dude made a joke about World War II and the French collaboration with the Germans. Don't know if you know the one that goes, "Don't joke about camps, man. My grandfather died in one of the camps. He fell from the watchtower." Yeah. Anyway, the women had no trouble, and the guy who made the joke was summoned by the manager and asked to stop his jokes because it was disturbing the work environment, and if he were to continue, he would get sanctions. When I asked normal fags what they thought about the first incident, they said it was funny and it's between two consenting adults, along with the usual "it doesn't hurt anyone." 1488. As for the second incident, the answers were, well, it can't hurt people whose family died in camps, it can hurt people whose family died in camps, or families who did collaborate and are shameful about it. I thought I said can't there for a second. Maybe I did. I'm not going to listen back to it though. Hence my questions. What do you answer to that rhetoric of the "who cares" and the "it doesn't concern you," which you pointed out lately? And the best one, if it doesn't hurt anyone, it's not to be judged. And the best way to not lose your mind is to not confront them, or should we try to talk them off their idiocy? They find it perfectly suitable for public behavior of a degenerate act. They find offensive everything except what is immoral. I shrug it off and hope they will open their eyes one day, but the wind is not blowing that way. Sorry for the length and the bad structure. Take care. Well, if you want to get back at these women, you can play up your Muslim or your Arab ancestry and saying, this is against my religion. These women are behaving in a way that is offensive to me. I'm familiar with your story. I'm familiar with who you are, and I think you should use it to your advantage. Because there are enemies in your midst. There are people who act indecently, who are of no credit to anybody, who are of no benefit to anybody. Other than eye candy, apparently, which is probably how they're keeping their job. And if you are able to, I would probably try to find another job. This does not sound like a healthy work environment. If you're able to get these ladies into trouble, do it. If it will be of no detriment to you, do it. And that's how you counter their rhetoric. Because there's nothing you can do to convince anybody. Nothing. They have to convince themselves, and they won't. Next. Hey CF, have you had some sort of divide between yourself and the alt-right? You said recently that you'd rather not identify with it and that you'd kill yourself before being in the edgy podcast drop crowd. You used to self-identify with the alt-right and were featured in TDS before. What happened? What happened is very simple. What happened is a realization. I can control what I say, what I put on this channel. I cannot control some fringe ideological movement that I have some sympathies towards in some respects, and others I do not. I can't control what other people say and do who belong under a certain banner. And what they say or do, well, they seem to have a predisposition towards homoeroticism. San Francisco, July 27, 2008, from ZombieTime.com. Up your alley fair, which documented one of the first ever alt-right meetups. Just type into Google "Zombie Time Up Your Alley" and you'll find it, and you'll see it. You'll see it. It's very beautiful. It's very encouraging for the future of white children, because that's what we're all fighting for, right? The Romans and Greeks, they had it right. They did it the right way. That's the blueprint, and not a cautionary tale. Some of you people are sending me some very difficult personal emails that I don't think I am qualified to answer. And some of you requested not for me to not read them on the show here while I record, and I'm not going to. But please understand, once I get around to answering these things, I'm very limited in what I can say. So, here are emails that I can read. A bit of a broad one this time, but what do you see as the most important thing you have learned in your life so far? Repentance. Admitting wrong, avoiding wrong, and avoiding those who are unrepentant. There's everything to be gained from learning that. But if you don't want to learn that, there's a fair called Up Your Alley, and there's the Folsom Street Fair, which are fun, family-friendly affairs for white children everywhere. Also, am I the only one who sees the Black Lives Matter movement as a major joke? Every time I see them on local news, I cannot help but laugh. Well, I mean, you can say these things, like something matters, but how? To who? I've heard 2 different stories recently about black children dying in horrible, very preventable ways. One child died in a gang shooting. He was used as a means of retaliation. 9-year-old kid. What the fuck can a 9-year-old kid do? No outcry about that. There's another one about a black baby, I think, black kid, whatever, getting burned alive in an oven while the mom was away doing some degenerate shit. Where's the outcry there? You would think a child's life matters more than anything else. Yet, it doesn't get you on TV. It doesn't get you booked by some golden retriever girl whose loins are all lathered up at the prospect of striking a blow at white hetero hegemony. So yeah, they are a joke. They are a big joke. ACF Fingolian listener here. Excuse me. Back in April, when our parliamentary election took place, the huge gain of popularity that the nationalistic True Finns party enjoyed caused massive amounts of left-wing ass pain. I recently found an article back from April in which artists in our capital, city, Helsinki, bitch about the election result and whine about how it does not represent their Finland, and come to a hilariously self-aware conclusion that they are living in a cultural bubble. I'll include my own translation of the article in this email. I'm not sure if this is prime reading material for your show, as it is an old article from some shitty Europe or backwater country nobody cares about. But that's up to you. I just wanted to share this triggering article with you. God bless you, CF, for your work and dedication to being a bad guy. And let's read the article. Why not? This listener from a far-off land took the time to share it, so let's read it. Cultural elites. We might be living in a bubble. Who are those True Finns? The True Finns' mad dash to the place of the second largest party between the coalition and the center party show that Finland has been divided into 2, says writer-director Pirkko Saisio, however it is pronounced. I feel that the Greens and the left together share the intellectuals, the cultural elites, researchers, and university people, she remarks. Saisio thinks that left-wing parties don't have many blue-collar candidates nowadays, and they are clearly becoming intellectual parties instead. It only accelerates the division. Saisio, much like many other artists, celebrates green left values. She hopes that researchers evaluate the cause for the rise of the True Finns. Who are these 1 in 6 or 7 Finns? I don't believe that everyone who votes for the True Finns is a racist, or as they prefer to be called, critical of immigration, which often mean the same thing. But maybe I'm just trying to be way too optimistic, she says. Actor Krista Kosonen also notes that she does not know anyone who has voted for the True Finns. Maybe it means we are living in a cultural bubble here in Helsinki, she ponders. To her, the picture painted by the election results feels alien. The result does not represent my Finland. To my Finland belong equal human rights, a welfare state for everyone, and no sorts of racism at all. To me, it is only a richness that people come here, and we don't just shut the door. Kosonen also remarks that she won't be depressed by the election results. Maybe it was only fear, because today it's necessary to keep one's hopes up. Conductor and composer Jaakko Kuusisto thinks that the election result shows a geographical division. Some interesting names you got in Finland. The opinions in Helsinki are radically different than anywhere else in Finland. To Kasisto, the biggest question is whether or not the new government will include a separate minister of culture. He doesn't care about the opinions of the would-be minister, only that they would work hard. It would involve dealing with low funds and pressure from many directions. The expectations from the field are extremely high. For writer Antti Nylan, the election was colored by the moment of disappointment. The dull saying that politics are broken seems to be true. All that's left is the right wing. The left has shrunk into a mere footnote. There's no ideological debate left, he says. I doubt that. Saicio disagrees along with him. Instead of division here, there's a melding. Suddenly, all of politics is one of large bourgeoisie. He refers to the philosopher Francis Fukuyama's idea of the end of history. The end of politics is next. We're already frenzied looking for the last leftist. Singer and actor Vuko Hovada is worried because the value of art was not discussed during the election. Oh, fuck off. The value of art was not, yeah, great. These are just people who are living off of grants, taxpayer subsidies, parasites. In what way are these people culture bearers? They're anti-culture deviants. Where did I leave off? In the election program of the Center Party, the cultural services were mentioned only as furthering welfare and health. The meaning of art is much more complex, and art has its own language which it speaks. The purpose is to open the minds of people and not be commercial goods for the sake of welfare. However, Hovada doesn't want to give up, even though politics now have a reactionary atmosphere. She thinks artists have a great responsibility in this situation. This means there is even more reason for artists to be active in the community. According to writer Jorn Donner, spiritually Finland is in a state of uncertainty and misinformation. Finland is an exceptional West European nation in which, to put it mildly, agrarian values rule. According to Donner, a part of the population is extremely conservative. Along with Kosonen musician Anssi Kela feels as if he is living in a bubble. These elections every 4 years are a welcome reminder that there is life outside of our bubble. You know, I don't want to make any claims like this because I could be easily proven wrong on them, but who the hell are these people and how many people do they reach? And they're getting subsidized by the government. They're artists. 50 people show up to my quarterly art exhibition, and I make a middle-class income doing it. And now, because this party is here, I'm going to make less money than I did before. Oh no. Those right-wing bigots, they're afraid of art. But there was something very interesting in that article, other than the obvious government paycheck angle. And that's the bit about Finland being an agrarian society. And there being a large segment of extremely conservative people by their standards in Finland. This is what I don't understand about Northern Europe. This is what I don't understand about the American Midwest. A lot of them are Scandinavians. A lot of Minnesota, Wisconsin, that area, lots of Scandinavians. And it also gets very cold there in the winter. I don't understand how there's such a limited window in which you can grow. You can actually grow food where you could actually feed yourself. The rest of the time, you live in a frozen wasteland. How can you be a liberal and live in a frozen wasteland? I'll never understand that. But I would like to thank the author for this email for sharing this article. It's nice to hear from Finland. I don't get a lot of feedback from there. So very neat, and I hope you're not freezing to death. Okay, Ask FM, and then nothing. You carry on. I carry on, doing the same thing over and over again. Hey friend, you still need to watch Marching Design by Steven Anderson. Also, as I'm unsure you're actually saved, a YouTube link. I actually watched this video before I recorded this, and yeah, I am. I think you need to share this video with the unrepentant sinners among us in this corner of the internet that people seem to think I belong to. And there are many of them. Many demons out there who I don't think can be saved. who know God yet hate God. Prayer is wasted on them. Love is wasted on them. And we shouldn't waste things, especially on our enemies, God's enemies, who belong to empires of piss.